targeting. First, stand quietly with your hands and body in a calm and neutral position. Cue your dog for attention. Mark and reward it a few times. Extend your open hand to about 3 inches from the dog's nose. Click and treat any movement of the dog's nose toward your hand. Most dogs will go in for a sniff and incidentally touch your hand with their nose. Be sure to click this and toss the treat to the floor. Repeat steps 1 through 4 until the dog is enthusiastically touching your open hand to make the clicks and treats happen. When you can predict that your dog will eat his treat and then touch your open hand to get a click and treat repeatedly, it's time to give this behavior a cue. Keep the cue simple, like touch. With your hands in a neutral position, say touch, then present your open hand at nose level, just before the dog is about to do the behavior. Repeat this several times. It might take 10 to 20 repetitions. Take a short break. Catch the dog being mildly distracted, say the cue, wait for the behavior, and click and treat. Repeat several times. Take a 5-minute break and repeat. Stop and try to elicit this behavior at varied times and circumstances. Helpful hint: if your dog ever has difficulty doing what you've asked, think of how you can modify the learning environment to make the task easier. Maybe you back up a step in the training procedure, decrease the level of distraction, or ask yourself if you are cueing the behavior correctly.
Another foundation behavior that you need to teach your dog is called hand targeting. And what that means is that when you put out your hand, the dog comes and touches their nose to your hand. The reason that we teach this is, one, it's a way to get cooperation with your dog. And another reason is we will use the movement of your hand to do lots of other stuff with your dog. But the step one is getting them to know that they should touch your open hand with their nose. So for example, with Moxie, as soon as she sees my hand, she'll come toward it, no matter where my hand is. All right? Even if I hold it way up here. Usually, a little too high. Maybe I had her going a little too high. So the way that you will start out doing this, most dogs, especially if you've been feeding them treats from your hand, if you just put your hand out, they're going to come investigate. And you click as the dog touches your hand and then reach in and feed. If your dog doesn't already do that, you can use what's called a lure, which is the food out first. So what I do is I put a treat between my fingers and then I go like this. She smells the treat, so she comes in. As soon as I feel her touch my hand, then I'm going to click and actually put the treat in her mouth. When you're using lures, it's important to understand that you have to fade that lure fast or the dog becomes dependent on it. So I may do that 2 or 3 times, and then I'm going to use the same action with no food in the hand up front to get that. I still feed afterward though. Every click is a guarantee that the dog's going to get fed. So that's hand targeting. Good job!
Here's your hand targeting homework. Level 1. Practice left and right hand touches. Work off leash at home, tossing the treat farther away at varying distances so the dog is moving a greater distance when cued to touch your hand. Level 2. Practice left and right hand touches back and forth and varying the number of touches before the click and treat. Practice outdoors in areas of increasingly higher distraction. Have other people work on getting your dog to touch their hand. Level 3. Transfer the behavior and add a cue. For example, say, "Go say hi," and have the dog touch another person's hand. Or say off. Show the dog your open hand to get him off the couch or bed without you having to touch him.